Hi guys, I'm Alan. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to print on 11 by 17 heat transfer paper using your Epson Workforce 7710, your Epson Workforce 7720. I have a few people asking me what's the difference between the Epson Workforce 7710 and the Epson Workforce 7720. There's no big difference. The only difference is the Epson Workforce 7720 is bigger than the 7710. The 7720 bigger with 3 trays, the 7710 smaller with 2 trays. That's the only difference is with those two printers. One is bigger than other and one carry more paper than other. That's it. Same color profiles, same color settings, everything stay pretty much the same. Okay, so if I show you guys a video on Epson Workforce 7710, the Epson 7720, the only two different is I'm using 2 different inks. The Epson 7710, I use it for pigment inks. 7720 is for dye sublimations. Okay, like I said on my previous video, I was going back and forth with my Epson Workforce 7710 using 2 different inks. I go to with pigment inks, switch to dye sublimation, from dye sublimation inks to pigment inks, and I feel like there was too much work to do. Then I got me an Epson Workforce 7720 for dye sublimations. Okay, so what I'm gonna show you guys before you erase all your little heat transfer paper, I'm gonna show you how to print on 11 by 17 for bigger designs. Okay, so what you're looking here, this is the cutting software, the my Celio cutting software here. The size you're looking is 12 by 12, and we don't have any heat transfer paper 12 by 12. We got 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, 13 by 19. That's it. So if you're trying to do any design here using the 12 by 12, you're gonna have a problem just to set up your registration line and print. Because if you're trying to do your trays or select a design and trying to use the paper without, make sure you let your printer and your cutting machine know what kind of paper sizes you're using, it's gonna be a problem. Because let me show you what you're gonna find out here. If you go down here where it says show print border here, if you click on it, you see how it is. It shows you that line here. So this is the 8.5 by 11 heat transfer paper. So make sure every time before you print and cut, make sure you go to your paper sizes and select the heat transfer paper size that you're gonna use. If it's 11 by 17, select it on the size paper. If it's 8.5 by 11, make sure you select it. But if you don't, that could always show you that if you don't do it, if you trying to, like I said, if you're trying to like print and cut a design on like the 12 by 12, if it's not on like inside the black box here, you're gonna miss out. Okay, you're gonna, when you print your design, it's half of them is not gonna print right. It's gonna cut off. Okay. So what you need to do is best to select your paper sizes. So let's just take that off. So before I start, I'm gonna go ahead and paper sizes. So I'm gonna do 11 by 17. We don't have any 11 by 17 here. We have A3, which is the 11 by 17. So I'm gonna go with A3. As you guys can see, the paper size is changed. What you need to do on the cutting mat, you go down. They don't have a 11 by 17 cutting mat. Okay, if you're trying to buy one, you will not find. You would always get the 12 by 24. Okay, so I'm gonna get my cutting mat, the 12 by 24 here. You see how long it is. Actually, when you buy the 12 by 24, that's the longest it's gonna be, unless you wanna cut half of it off. Okay, so now I'm ready to trace my design. So I'm gonna go in File and Open, and then locate my design. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna choose something that I would keep, that I'm gonna use and keep it for myself. Okay, so let's see here. There's a lot of design that I could choose from, but I'm just gonna get something I'm gonna keep for myself here. Let's see. So for one, the trace process, I have plenty of videos that show you guys how to do the trace process from the start to the end. Everything you need to know, I have it on my channel. You guys could check it out. But I'm just gonna show you guys the process. And also you could print 2 different design on 11x17 for bigger shirts and the smart shirts. Here, maybe I have somebody was asking me for one of those shirts, so I'm gonna do it. I never had time, but I'm gonna choose it on that video. I'm just gonna go ahead and make that shirt and give it to somebody that's had asked me for it. So I'm choosing that design here. Okay, there you go. So I could just make it a little, I could zoom it in so it could be bigger here. Okay, so I'm just gonna make my design a little smaller so I could work with it. Okay, so when you're done, select your design. You go to file, just a quick minute just to go to the trace process. Go to Pinos, select your trace. Okay, you go here, select trace area. You click on the select trace area, and then you just come here and select your design. Make sure everything is in the block column here, as you guys can see here, and everything is pretty much ready to cut. If everything is not cut, make sure the outside line here, the outside line on that design, make sure all those line is yellow. Don't worry about the middle ones, to be honest. Sometimes if you're doing, there's 2 type of trace. If you're doing trace, you make sure everything inside is yellow. If you're doing trace outer edge, which is the outside line, make sure this is yellow. If you're having problems with it, you got to go to the threshold, and you could bump it up a little bit more and make sure everything is yellow and everything you want it to. So I don't want it that yellow here, so I could leave it at 84, and then you go down to trace outer edge. Then I'm done here. And when I move it, you move the design here. As you guys can see here, this is what my cutting machine gonna cut here. The outside line here, the red line. Everything that's inside is not gonna cut. It's just the outside line. So you don't have to fight trying to put it back on the red line here. What you need to do, you go to edit, undo, move polygon, and it will go right back on there. So when you get there, you click the outside here, the mouse here, and then you select both of them, and then you click the right side of the mouse, and then you group. Okay, so let's just go back to one thing I want to show you before I group it right here. So see all those marks here, those little marks. Let me zoom it in so I could show you guys. You see those marks here? If you don't want to give your cutting machine too much work to do, you could click on that design, and then you could go down, and then you will see something say release compound path. I don't see it here. I don't know why, but it should be say release compound path, and then it would, let's see here. Let me see something. I don't know why he's not saying it. It should say release compound path. I don't know. I don't see it. Let me see. Okay, well, let's see here. You click the right side of the mouse. There's nothing. You click here. There's nothing. Oh, okay. There's something that's weird. So it should say release compound path for something I need. So when you say release compound path, then you will be able to take away those marks here on your design, so the cutting machine won't go for too much. So what you need to do when you're done, like I said, go back here on edit and undo everything you've done. I'm gonna have to undo everything I just done so I could put back my design inside that line. Okay, so everything, there you go. So it's back here. Okay, so when you're done, like I said, you gotta click the outside of here and then select both of them, and then click the right side of the mouse, and then you could group it. This is what I was gonna tell you guys here. Okay, you group both of them. You say make compound path, but the other one will be release compound path. So I'm gonna group, and I group it here, and then everything it's not a stick together. So whenever I'm ready to cut, the only thing that's gonna cut is the red line from the outside my design here. Okay, that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's 2 different ways you can trace your design. I have the video on my channel. I could always put the link on the description so you guys could check it out, but this is not what I'm doing right now, so I'm just gonna keep it moving here. So when you're done here, everything is, you just ready to cut. So what you need to do, you gotta set up your registration line. If you don't set up your registration line, there's no way you're gonna be able to cut your design. So what you need to do, you gotta go back here on page setup. So when you get back here, there's three marks here and 3 icon. This the page setup. This the grind settings. The grind setting, it showed you, like, if you don't know like what the size your design gonna be, if you click on the grind settings, okay, and then you show grind, it will show you. You see, so you could always count those line here. You can count and see where you're exactly the size of your design. If it's gonna be like from 1 to 8, from 1 to 11, you can cut. So you don't need to worry about that. So let's go back, take it off. The main thing you need to worry about is just your registration line. The third one is the registration line. And if you put the mouse on top, it will tell you exactly what it is. Okay, we get to registration line and we just click on registration line. On style right now is off, so you gotta click on it and then top one, and then you see this go right here. This is your registration line. So do not, when you trying to enlarge your design, don't let your design pass the black line and the black spot here. Always make sure it's in between, and even the red line, don't let it go past the red line. So you put it right there, and you could go here, make it a little bigger if you want. There's 2 lines here. This one could be outside and that one cannot. Okay, just if you would need more like, if you want to make it bigger, or if you don't want to do all that, you could bring it down here and then you could make it way bigger than usual here. Okay, so you will not have a problem. There you go. So I'm just gonna leave it here just to make it a little bigger. And you could go all the way down and just make it here. Okay, that's for a bigger design, 11 by 17. So when you're done here, you select your registration line. So what you need to do, you could go all the way down here. These all these things just stay just the way they are. You go to advanced option. The advanced option is if you want to make those bigger, you could always go to 394. So since my design is already, the column is already big enough, I don't need to go down to 394. But 394 would give you those left inset, top, right, bottom is 1, those 4 corners if you want to make it longer or larger. So it's already big enough, so I'm just gonna leave it at 625. Okay, everything is 625. And also I also have another video show you how you could, if you do like 8.5 by 11, if you want to make your 8.5 by 11 your design way bigger than the paper, because when you set up your registration line, you don't get that much you don't get that much places to make your design, because 11 by 17 is not even big. But you could always print a bigger design if you go here. It's a video on my channel that shows you, if you're using 8.5 by 11 heat transfer paper, you could print a bigger design than what you expect, okay, on your 8.5 by 11. So right here, this is what you do, and everything just stay the same. Everything stay the same here. So now I should be able to print. Now I think I'm ready to print. Everything is set, everything is good. Okay, the bottom, you could lift up the bottom if you want to. Right here, you could lift it up, but don't let it pass your design. You could just play with it wherever you want it at. So I'm just gonna leave it here, or just leave everything at 625. So now I'm ready to print. Since I'm doing a white shirt, so I'm gonna go to, always remember that, mirror your images. So I'm going to objects, go to mirror here, and then flip horizontally. And now I'm ready to, I don't think it would have a problem if I didn't do it with that design, but you also don't matter. Always doing it if you're doing for white t-shirts, always flip your images. Okay, so now I should be able to print my design. So now what you need to do, you go to file, you got to go to page setup. Okay, so when you get here, you got to set up your printer. Epson work for 7720 series 2. I'm leaving it like that. And then page size. So remember, you got to go on here to your paper sizes. I'm gonna do A3 borderless. Okay, you could do tablet 11 by 17 tablet here. You could do either one, but I think that's the one I always do here. Tablet 11 by 17 borderless here. So I'm just gonna click on it and then okay. And then when you're done, you gotta go back again on print. When you get here, you select your printer. 7720. Okay, and then everything changed, laid out. So this is where you go if you wanna do color matching, paper handling, cover, print settings. You could do all that. I also have a video show you guys how to select your color settings, paper handling, and everything. So I'm gonna go to print settings. So when you get to print setting, this is where you go to let your printer knows that which cassette that you're gonna use. If you're gonna use the rear trays, the main trays, and all that. So remember, we got 3 on the 7720. So the cassette 1, the rear paper feed slot is the back of the page on that printer. No, I'm not gonna use that. Okay, but I'm gonna use the cassette. Just so you know, you could always print 11 by 17, 13 by 19 on your cassette 1 or cassette 2. But I don't recommend it. I always trying to tell you guys do it on the real paper feed slot. So I'm gonna do cassette 1. Okay, so now I should be able to ready to print. So now I'm gonna print it, and I'm gonna take you guys to the printer so you guys can see how it came out. Let's go to the printer.